Hello and welcome back to another video. So this is part 14. So we're now going to actually start adding in this main content. So we're going to start off with this featured text here at the top. So we'll create a H2, we'll add this line in below, add the paragraph of text. And then the next section we'll be looking at will be these two bits here. So we'll create an unordered list and we'll add these icons in. And all that good stuff. So the first thing we need to do, if we look up here at the design, you can see that we've got a gap here and a gap on this side. So we're going to add some padding on the main content div. So what this will do for us will give us padding all the way down the left and the right hand side. So if we just jump over to Dreamweaver, so if we just go into the style sheet, and we've got the main content div here. So we need to add the following. We're going to say padding. So we're going to say the top padding will be 10 pixels. The right will be 20. The bottom will be 10. And the left will be 20. So if we just save that and then go back to the index page, you don't really see any difference yet, but we'll start adding in the content. So in the source view, we want to be adding our information in here in between the opening and closing main content. So we're going to create a div and we're going to give it an ID, and we'll just call this featured, as this is going to be the featured text at the top of the page. We'll close that off and just add our comment here, so featured, so we know which one it belongs to. So inside of here we're going to create a bit of space and we're going to create a H2 and then just close that off, and then underneath that we'll create a paragraph and we'll close that off. So we just need to go back to Photoshop and grab the text. So I'm going to zoom in with Control and plus, and here's our paragraph. So I'm going to grab the text tool and I'm just going to copy this text directly out of Photoshop and paste it in to our H2 here. Again, you can put whatever you like in here. I'm just copying the actual Photoshop design. And then what we need to do is then grab the paragraph. So I'll zoom out a little bit more. Grab the text tool by pressing T on the keyboard and it changes to the text tool, and select all that. Copy it out and we're good to go now. We'll paste that into there, and if we just save the page with Control S and go to design, you can now see we've got the lorem ipsum header, and we've also got the paragraph tag, and you can also see we've got the padding on the right and we've got the padding on the left, and you can also see it's enclosed in this div which is marked in the yellow. So we now need to style these elements. So the first thing we need to do is actually find out the color. So if we go back to Photoshop, zoom in, well, first of all we need to find out the font. So I'm going to grab the text tool again and just select the text, and it's actually Verdana for the actual font, and now we just need to get the color of that. So I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool and just click on the L here, and then it gives me the color. So that color is 707070. So now we need to find out the same information for the paragraph text here, which I'm guessing it's probably Verdana again. So select it and it is Verdana, and we just need to get the color. So again, I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to click here on this P and then click on the palette down here, and that's going to be 5A, 5A, 5A. So now we've got these things sorted, we just need to go back over to Dreamweaver, and if we go to the source of the index page, so we need to target this H2. So we're going to say a div with an ID of featured that has a H2, do the following. So in the style sheet we're going to say a div with an ID of featured that has a H2, do the following. So the font family, we'll just pick Verdana, and then obviously if Verdana is not available it will go to the next one and so on, and then just save that. We want to give it a color, and the color is 707070, and then the font size we'll say 14 maybe we'll increase it a little bit more. Go back to the design. Yep, so you can see it there, but it's quite small, so we need to change that up. I reckon if we change that to 16, and that's looking a bit bigger now. I think if we do it a little bit more, if we go to 18, and then go to the index page, and that's looking a bit better now. So if we just go back to Photoshop, zoom out a little. So as you can see here, we've got a line underneath, and we've got a bit of spacing from underneath the H2 to that line. So we need to create that. So we'll go back to Dreamweaver. So this H2, we need to add some more styling to it. So we're going to say padding on the bottom of the H2, just say 10 pixels. Go back to the index. You can now see we've got some more space underneath it now. And then the final thing we're going to say is border bottom. It's going to be a 1 pixel line. It's going to be a solid line, and we'll just say black for now. We need to find out that color and just save that. So as you can see now, we've got this line in position, but obviously it's the wrong color. So we're going to go back to Photoshop, and I'm just going to quickly grab the eyedropper tool, click on the line. And the color is B9, B9, B9. So if we go back to Dreamweaver, into the style, and change the word black for B9, 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 close that off. And you can now see that starting to take shape. If we just preview this in a web browser by clicking on the globe and clicking Chrome, or whatever browser you use, I'm going to hit refresh, and you can now see that starting to take shape. Now we need to control this paragraph tag as well, because that's far too close to the line. So we're going to target that with CSS as well. So if we just go back to the style sheet, well, in fact if we go to the source of the index, we need to target the P, so it's going to be div with an ID of featured that contains a paragraph tag, do the following. So if we come here, so div an ID of featured that has a P tag, we're going to use the following code. The color of that is going to be 5A, 5A, 5A. So if we just preview that, so the color's changed, but we need to kick it away from this grey line. So we're going to use, if we go to the style, we're going to say the top of it. So we'll say margin top 10 pixels, and then just preview that. So as you can see, it's kicked it away, and it's looking really close now to the Photoshop design. What we do need to do is justify the text, so it's a straight line here and a straight line on this side. So on the P tag, we're going to use text align, and we're going to say justify, and save that. Go back to the index, and it's now straight on both sides, which is looking quite nice. If we just come back over here, we want to change the actual font size as well. So we're going to say font size is 13 pixels, and save that out. And if we look at that, it's a bit too small actually. We'll bring that up a bit. We'll bring that to, say, 15. That's looking quite nice. What we do need to do is actually create some space in between the actual lines. If we just go to Photoshop, if we just zoom out a little, as you can see there's a bit of spacing in between each of the lines. So we'll do that now in CSS. So if we just go back to Dreamweaver, and we want to use the following property on the paragraph tag. We want to say line height, and we'll say 30 pixels, and if we go back to the index, you can now see we've got 30 pixels in between each of the lines. That's looking quite nice now as well. So we've now sorted that portion out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to create a couple of more videos, and we'll be adding in those unordered lists. So hit one here on the left and one here on the right. And once we've done that, the final thing to do is add in the 3 images at the bottom, and the conversion from the Photoshop design to an actual website will be complete. So as usual guys, thanks for watching. Please leave any comments below. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.